to the House of Mario, South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by a 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and the doors, episode 265, are open. Today on the show, my God, the PlayStation 2 milestone has grown to 160 million. Can Switch catch it? Bloody, I don't know. But to talk all about that is my wonderful co-host, Josh Tunig. Josh, how you going, mate?
Drew, I'm very well, mate. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter Monday to everyone listening as well. Had a nice couple of days off, actually 4 days off. It is an awesome time of the year to not be working. So it's been pretty busy and cool for me. Got a little bit of gaming done in between all the other stuff, but yeah, keen to talk about some of the things we have not been playing. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. I've talking to Josh beforehand. I'm like, I got a nice stack of games here that I'm happy that I purchased, but haven't played them. But they're nice to look at, especially nice. Like, you know, these are PlayStation 5 games. It's nice to like take them out and install them and have them on like, you know, your menu and have they're ready to play. You just look at them, you turn off the PlayStation, you go and do something else. You know, it's usually how it works.
Most adult thing you ever do, isn't it?
Yeah. You do the same on Switch. You just like take out the cartridge, you put it in, the picture pops up. You're like, nice. Then you lock it.
Can't wait to one day play that game, or at least keep looking at the cool icon and pay $80 for that. You know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, but you pay a lot for art just in general. You hang it on the wall. Why not pay $80 for a nice artwork for your Nintendo Switch menu? You know what I mean? Just you got the beautiful artwork, you got the title. You can even click on it and get some interactive music in the title screen. That's worth the $80 just straight away, let alone getting a 20-hour experience when you get into like a JRPG or maybe a platformer. You know, there's a lot of great stuff you can get into once you actually get into the video game itself. But
heck yeah, that's right.
The initial investment is really worth it.
Hey, I'd pay $90 for next gen for that easily. That's selling itself at this stage. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. And like Josh said, hope you've had a great Easter. I've had a good Easter. This is the first Easter with my son, Lucas, where he's actually had a good time Easter egg hunting. He went around and he picked up the eggs, put him in his truck, and he ate a lot of chocolate. My God, he ate a lot of chocolate. But
good man, good kid. Does he what's his favorite chocolate? Was it like is the Cadbury stuff his favorite, or do you like go all out and get Lindt, kind of like really expensive chocolate for him? Like, is he fussy chocolate eater?
No, he's not fussy. He just has the Cadbury stuff, and Cadbury's good, but it's gone downhill probably the last few years. It's a lot more sugary rather than like chocolatey, but it's still good. I still really like it. So
I still love Cadbury.
Yeah, no, she's good stuff. Good stuff. And shout out to Foolish Fuji in the chat as well. Happy Easter, team. Hope you're both going well. We are going well. Very well. Hope you're going well too. I was listening to you today, actually, Fuji, on the PlayStation Drive from Carpool Gaming. So, yeah, really do appreciate you popping in and saying hello. And anybody else on youtube.com/iDruby, you can watch the video or the VOD after the fact. So go and check that out if you want to see our silly faces bob around the screen. But if you don't, just listen to it on podcast services like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We can just hear our voices with no silly faces. You will not see Josh's moustache, though. You will miss out on that.
It's a thing of beauty at this stage, I feel. Yeah, I get many compliments on it these days. I think at first it was the growing stage and it wasn't quite looking the part, but now it's filled out a bit more. So I'm a bit more happier with it. Looks good.
Yeah, it takes a while to fill out. Like the thing is with my face, I can like if I shave, it'll be back the next day. Like my facial hair grows real quick. I can grow a moustache, but it looks disgusting. I hate it. It looks so filthy. I don't know what like you're saying whether I need to leave it like a month and get through that phase. But there's a lot there, but it just looks like it's no Chopper Reed moustache. I'm telling you that. She's no like, yeah, I don't know.
I think you could pull it off. I don't know, but yeah, I just feel like you were 15 and you could have grown a full beard by then at that stage. I don't know. It's pretty thick from what I recall.
I remember coming home from school camp, like it would have been like year 7, so it would have been 12. Yeah, about 12. And I remember having that real fuzz on my top lip, like a little caterpillar. And
Yeah.
I still remember how easy it was to shave because it was just so fine and like silky, like a little kid facial hair. But now, man, she's like just grinding through iron. She's tough. Need, need like the steam and the hot water and all of that, and that's too much, man. I'm way too lazy for that. I just get the electric shaver and just buzz over it now.
Done.
But yeah,
Easy.
done, easy peasy.
Yep.
But over Easter, Josh. Now I know the answer to this. We have talked about it before. Much gaming, much whether it's actually playing games or maybe just sitting in your chair in silence, looking at the gaming collection, just pondering, these games are cool, but I don't want to play them. Is there any, what's the sort of the action of it's been happening in the Tunic household?
Well, you're motivating me through. I say motivating you. You are bullying me to an extent to get Prince of Persia done, and so I am continuing to do that. Your bullying is working, breaking me down. I'm near the end. I feel like I'm very close. I had to look up a guide for one platforming aspect. I don't know if people are going to know about this. It's you got to collect 4 constellation things, and then the 4th one there was some complicated platforming you had to do, and I didn't think it was possible for me to do it, but I had to look up a guide and like, no, you can do it. You just got to do it this way. So I got through that. I am like, I'm not stuck anymore. I'm going through it. I've like the things happened at the end, a little twist. So I just need to finish the last stages off, I feel. So if I have some time later this week, I might be able to finish it, and then you can stop asking me about it, and then you can bully me on something else, and that would be good.
Oh, good.
To,
yeah, no,
that's
how bullies work.
Yeah.
It's like a kid at school. You pick on them for their haircut because they got a stupid haircut. They come to school with a pretty cool haircut. You're like, oh, all right, your shoes suck, and they change their shoes. Oh,
yeah, shoes. Oh. Yeah, correct. Yep. So Drew's gonna find something else.
Your nipples
to
are unaligned.
Drew would know about that, but that's stuff we don't talk about on the podcast. But so yes, I've done that. Prince of Persia, nearly done, and then the other thing, I tried a little bit of maximum velocity F-Zero because that came out to NSO the other day. I find that game very drifty. I could not enjoy it in my half an hour trying to play through that. So I don't know if you've given this a go ever, Drew, but I don't know, just like compared to F-Zero 99, that's such a great game to control and play, and the controls just feel right and modern. There's just something about this Game Boy Advance version of F-Zero that is just incredibly slippery. I kept running to the barriers. I just couldn't get it. So I don't know if it's just me. Talked about on my show today. So I'm hoping I can hear from other people if they feel the same about this one. Not sure if you've ever played it.
Yeah, I've played it. It was a while ago. I never had it physically. I probably played it. I must have played it on an emulator. Haven't played it on Nintendo Switch Online, but yeah, I'd probably agree with that. It feels like you're on ice a lot, even compared to like the Super Nintendo game. So
yeah, the Super Nintendo controls better. Yeah. So I think I haven't heard amazing things about the game. I think it's the one that people don't really like the most. Like, it's the least liked one out of all the F-Zero ones, and so I can kind of see that now if that's the case with the controls. But the main thing's been Princess Peach Showtime. So I've gotten about a few hours into it. I've done all the Peach transformations. Talked about it on my show today, Nintendobania, which is out now. The more I played it, the more I've enjoyed it, which is good because I think I mentioned it on this show. I played the demo, and I just did not have a great time with it. I just thought, is this the game? And then after playing a bit more of the the first level is incredibly boring. I feel like Sword Fighter Peach is just not an interesting gameplay dynamic. It's just you spam B, you just attack enemies, and that's all there is to it. So she's got so many more cooler transformations, so many and those transformations bring so many different gameplay mechanics and variations that I think Nintendo shot themselves in the foot by just doing an easy, like, this is just the two first levels of the demo of the game. Sorry, we'll make that the demo, and you just go from there. I don't think they're the best two levels to showcase. Um, so yeah, the more I played, the more I've really enjoyed it. So I think yeah, I've had a really good time and sort of been more impressed the more I've gone on, and just glad I've done that instead of just not played it after giving the demo a go.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. Like,
Yeah.
what makes you sort of enjoy the game more as you go on? Because you started off being like, oh, it's pretty basic and it is like more
Mm.
aimed towards young children. But as you've gone on, what sort of improved? Have you seen some like mechanics and sort of gameplay scenarios that sort of you think's really imaginative, or what has progressed since your like initial thoughts from the demo?
Yeah, it's the more imaginative stuff with the transformation. So, for example, one of them, um, you're Mighty Peach, and so you're a superhero, and so the way
Oh,
they
that's
set
cool. I
up the
haven't seen that
stage, you sort of
one.
yeah. So you got superpowers, and it's not just like you do beat to punch and use your powers and things like that, but you're not just on the ground. You eventually you're in the air, and it becomes a bit of a rail shooter kind of
Oh,
gaming experience.
awesome. Yeah.
There's a detective mode level, and so I felt like I was playing Detective Pikachu for that level, and so um, it was just yeah the different genres that were sort of having a little having a little go at really, and you see Peach do that and get into the different outfits. It's just more interesting and different to what the demo really showcased. So yeah, like at the end of the day, it's still made for kids at front of mind. But if you go into it knowing that, I think you come out of it pretty entertained and fulfilled still at what you get the more you play it. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I really like the idea of that superhero Peach. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm.
Just from you saying that, because yeah, my experience with it, I was trying to play it this week, and the week just went so fast, and I got to the point where all right, I've got to start. So I started. I played it for like 10 minutes, and then today, today Lucas picked up my Switch, and I'm like, oh, so I took it off of him, and he was just, he's like full bore. He's probably full of chocolate. He's just full of energy. So I put him on my lap, and I just turned on the Switch and continued on, and I did a bit of like the sword fighter, just opening level, just pressing B and hitting the stuff, and
Mm.
it dies, and you just progress through the level. And he was sitting there watching it, so I'm all right, it's a win-win. I can play like 10 minutes of this game, and he will sit there just watching it. And because he loves the Mario movie, so I don't know whether he can like recognize Peach from it. It'd be cool if he did,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I got no idea. But yeah, I barely touched the game, so I think it comes down to like my bullying comes from a place of love for you, Josh, because I know you love Prince of Persia,
Yeah,
Metroidvanias, and all that. I think I need
I
some
do.
bit of
I do.
bullying. I need some bullying when it comes to
Yeah.
being able to get
What would you like me
some
to
games. I
bully
don't
you
know.
to play and do?
That's right.
What
You
can I
can pick
harass you
whatever.
about?
You can, there's Wacko Jacko in the Discord. He, really, he wants to bully me something severely to play the Splatoon 3 DLC
Yes.
that you've played.
Yes.
He's keen to bully me about that. So he's already on my case about that. You can pick something different, or you can tag team me if you really want me to see me give that a go. Or you can pick something else. You can bully me to play like
Um,
some obscure JRPG on the NES or something. You could just get wacky with it. You can be really mean about it.
I could be mean.
Um,
I'm not going to do that though. Wacko Jacko, he can continue the good fight with side order. I've definitely done my part to sort of get not just yourself but other people to play that. Let me think about it, Drew, and I'll get to you by the end of the night. What I'm going to keep asking you at the end of the week
yeah,
to play and do.
yeah. Don't rush this decision when it comes to like degrading my mental health over playing a video game.
Yeah,
You gotta pick the right one. You gotta make
that's
it worth
correct.
it.
That's correct.
You
Yeah, that's
know,
right. So
I'll be like scratching at my legs and my, but
all you
it'll be
Switch
worth
bullies
it.
out
So
there, that's
I would have rolled
important
the credits or
information.
something.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, I've got so much stuff I got to catch up on. I don't know. I don't know
Gotta
why I
say it.
go through this type of stuff. It just happens. Like I was on such a good roll at the start of the year. Finished what
Mm.
12, 14 or 13 games. Then I just stopped. Just completely stopped. And now because I needed to beat like 4 games a month. So now I'm not ahead anymore. I'm where I need to be. So if I need to get
That's right,
going
you're still on
again,
track
so I
then.
keep up the pace. Yeah, I am still at the pace, but I was ahead. If I was at that pace, I would have done 50 games before the end of this month if I kept up that pace.
Yeah, if you did it. But are you playing these games and enjoying them, or do you feel like you kind of have to do it? And then if you get partway through a game, like, and you're halfway through it, you're not really enjoying it, but it's like it's only 4 hours in total, the game. So you just keep pushing through and finishing it anyway. Is that what you're finding some of these games are like for you? It becomes a bit more mature then, or yeah?
Yeah, maybe a couple of them in some
Yeah.
regard, but yeah, most of them I'm enjoying going through it. Like if I get to the point where I've got like an hour left, I'm like, I make sure I do that hour
Yeah,
or 2
that's
hours or
fine.
whatever it is.
It's just an hour.
Like I did with Dead Space. Like I put 8 hours into it. I just got to finish it. Like it's 4 hours. That's a decent sitting, but that's all I need to do. And I'm glad I finished it because then I can look back at it and go, I can know what it is. But I'd say this year, as far as like games where I really just bit my tongue to get through it, was Donkey Kong King of Swing on the Game Boy Advance. That game really just fucking annoyed me so much. It just frustrated me so much. It was so annoying. But yeah,
But you did it, yeah.
But I did it. Just because I was in such a Donkey Kong mood, and I had King of Swing just loaded up on the 3DS. So I'll give that a go. And I thought it would take me like 4 hours to beat. Then like 10 hours in, I'm like, I'm beating it. I'm beating it. Every level felt like a boss. Oh, holy shit, it was hard. I don't know why it was so hard. It was just
I don't know. You would know this because sometimes we get codes from Nintendo, and then sometimes the games you're playing, you're not quite feeling like you want to play them at the time. And so that's hard sometimes, just sort of getting the motivation to do it. But you want to do it because you get the code and you want to talk about it on your shows and things like that. But yeah, just yeah, like especially when you paid for a game, you want to play it. I think it's fine sometimes, isn't it, to just to realize maybe it's not for you. You played it for your 2-3 hours and then move on to the next thing. So yeah, I don't know, because you'll find a game sometimes you just sort of race through it, don't you? And like you don't realize you played like 20 hours over a weekend or something, and just blinks right in front of you how fast you actually do it. So it's funny how it does vary.
Oh, 100%. Some games you just feel like, yeah, they're just so much fun. You're enjoying it, and the time just sinks away, and you find yourself just picking up the Switch for like 2 minutes or half an hour here and there, and the time adds up. As opposed to some games where you're like, oh, I've got to play it. And I feel like starting games has been that's been like a hurdle to get over. Like it was with Peach. Like I could have easily, like the day it came out, could have played 20 minutes. Day after could have played 10. Day after could have played 10. Day after could have sat down for 2 hours. Like, it all adds up and it's all easy. It's a Switch game. The Switch is perfect for that. And Peach is like a bite-sized sort of experience. It's made for kids. It's like you don't have to think about where the story was or mechanics that you've forgotten how to sort of operate. You can fit it in, but it's just that initial start, which is I don't know, that might be like an old man sort of problem.
Yeah.
If you're a kid, you're just playing games here and there. You're whipping cartridges in and out. You're doing your thing. You're just having fun. You're not thinking about it too much. But I think for me as well, it's just I get into these moods where like all I want to do is just zone out and watch YouTube or watch TV or something. That's where I have been probably the last month or so. Been really enjoying these videos, but also they've got so much of them, just like retro gaming videos. I'm just watching people go to markets and find deals. It's been such like a happy sort of brain dead thing I've been enjoying watching as people just like
different way to enjoy games, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I've just been really into the collecting and sort of the retro scene where it's just like talking about old consoles and old games, and I found like a podcast that talks about retro stuff, and like I don't know, I've gone down a massive rabbit hole, and it is addictive in some ways,
Yeah.
Just
what's the podcast?
I talked about it this last week. I think they were called Pixel. Um, well, they're the Pixel Game Squad. So they've got a YouTube channel where they go around finding like old, whether it's consoles, they find like kiosks and a bunch of awesome stuff. I haven't watched their YouTube channel so much. I've watched another channel called Retro Rick and also Phoenix
Yeah, I
Resell.
like Retro Rick. He's good.
Yeah, Retro Rick is fantastic. He's got like a within the last year or so, he's actually got a game store in the US. But he started off just doing like a retro gaming channel where it's made me sort of like reevaluate just how I think about even like DVDs and VHSs. Like DVDs to me were like actual trash. Like I didn't want them in my house whatsoever. But he's going around like, oh, look at this VHS. He's got like a VHS collection, and he watches Ninja Turtles and stuff with his son. And I'm like, so it actually it made me go back to my parents. And actually tonight when I went to see Dad for his birthday today, I went into my room and I got like a fireplace that's closed in with a cabinet, and I dragged out the cabinet. And that's where I've got not all of them, but that's where I've got a lot of my old gaming magazines. I've got like a massive stack of Game Informer and the actual official Nintendo Australia magazine. I had like a bunch of them. So I took them out and put them into boxes because it was a bit dirty in there. So I want them to be good. When I've actually got space again, once if we move house eventually and I get like a place for like a gaming room again, I want like those magazines like displayed just like on a magazine rack, so I can go up to them and read them. And they sort of span from like early Wii to early 3DS, the Nintendo Australia magazine. So it's kind of like, that's right in my childhood. It
didn't go for too long, did it? I'm trying to.
No, it didn't.
It was only a few years, and I remember I've got the first few issues when they did come out, and then I stopped eventually collecting them, and then eventually gave them away because I don't have them anymore. But I loved it when they were a thing. God,
yes, absolutely.
But yeah, you're right.
Because
days.
Yeah, my favorite magazine as a kid was Total Gamer. So it was like one of those smaller magazines, and that was where like I read about games. Just it didn't have the internet, or I wasn't an early IGN reader necessarily. That was in high school. This is when I was like a real little kid, just when I got my Game Boy Advance, and that's where I'd read about the latest games coming to all platforms, even like PlayStation and GameCube and stuff that I didn't have. That's why I actually have nostalgia for GameCube, because I read about it and I wanted it, but I just never actually got it. But I read so much about it, and that magazine, Total Gamer, they ended, and they actually became the official Nintendo magazine. So all of those editors just moved over to that magazine, which was cool. So that's why I sort of knew about it from the very start. So I'll be keen to actually go back and read them and see if I've got all the issues. I could potentially have them all. I probably would be missing one here and there, you would think, just from months that I forgot or it got sold out or something. But
yeah,
I'll go and count them. Like, it'd be interesting to see whether I've got them all. But
it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been just taking in retro gaming content. I'm really enjoying it, but it's coming at the detriment of actually playing games.
Playing them. Yeah.
Because I'm still working on my retro gaming trolley as well. Was it Friday? I reached out to somebody in Adelaide who's selling an NES. So they've I've bought that off of them. So I've got an NES coming. With
your
two
works
controllers
and everything.
Yes, I didn't get to actually touch
according
it.
to them.
According to them, I'll report back on the podcast once I've got it. See if I got scammed or duped or whatever. But yeah, two controllers, comes with a Super Mario Brothers cartridge. And then I said, "Oh yeah, I'll take that." And I said, "Hey, have you checked out my other listing?" And they had a Zapper and a Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers cartridge as well. So I'm getting that as well. So I'm like, sweet.
Awesome.
So very excited about that. And was it yesterday, I won an auction for a crystal Xbox. So see-through original Xbox.
Oh, you did get one. Hell yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I did get one. So I'm excited for that too. Yep. So the only console I still need for the gaming cart is a Dreamcast. That's the one more thing I want on it.
Yeah. What do they go for these days? Are they pretty expensive?
Yeah, they are.
Not a lot.
They're like,
and then it
seems
special editions
like,
as well.
I haven't seen any special editions. I just searched Dreamcast on eBay, and if you get like one controller, a memory card, and the console and cords, it seems to be about $300.
That's not too bad.
Just for that.
Yeah.
So considering that there's like barely any, that's what it is. And yeah, I'm pretty keen to try out the Dreamcast. I've never had a Sega console before, and I actually like, everybody, who's gone to an arcade or a local pub or something, you would know that, how fun the Sega arcade games are.
Yeah, that's right.
Like one of my favorites is Outrun, just because it's been in the Beachport pub forever, and I've always loved going up to it and playing it. It'll be awesome to have that at home, and like games like it. So I'd be keen to give that a go, and all of the Dreamcast games, even though most of them were ported to PlayStation, Xbox, and GameCube. So yeah, I've got to look up what ones were actually stranded on the GameCube and which ones are better. Oh, sorry, on the Dreamcast, and which ones are better to play elsewhere. Because I say like is it Sonic Adventure and Sonic Heroes? They got like DX versions on GameCube. So I'm like, well, it's probably better actually on GameCube.
Later on,
played elsewhere. So yeah, I've got to do a bit of research.
It does look cool. Like I never, I've always been a Nintendo kid, and so
me too. Yeah.
Never gone to the Sega side, but the Dreamcast has always interested me. Just like firstly the controller, which has an LED screen on it, or it's got a screen of some kind. Looks really cool. Or it has internet capability. It's one of the first consoles to do that. Just they look really cool. There's one on here for $219 for a starting bid. 240 volts plus Street Fighter 3 region free boot disc.
Yeah, I did see that. So I got an email before, because there's one ending that has no bids. It's a bit over $300. It's been cleaned. The battery inside it's been changed. Like it's actually been serviced, and that's like $319. And that ends in an hour. So I don't know whether to jump on that. So if I jump on it, it'll be during the show.
By the time this recording's done, you might be the proud owner of a new Dreamcast.
So yeah, I've got 31 minutes.
I'm going to bully you to buy a Dreamcast. That's what I've decided to do.
That's the problem though, is that I just bought the Xbox, that Crystal Xbox and the NES. Probably should space it out just so that, I've got satisfaction. Maybe another week.
Prolong that dopamine hit. Yeah, just sort of
Because if it's got no bids, it might go up cheaper as well. Don't know.
Yep, unless anyone's listening.
Is their best offer? Can I offer less?
Yeah.
I'll
pay cash.
Because a lot of them
right now.
Because I want one that's not yellowed. I don't want this one. Looks crispy.
Is that NES you bought yellowed? Because they get a bit yellow.
No, it looked pretty good from the pictures. Looked pretty good. But yeah, It was in Adelaide, and actually, I was about to bring up a message with you, my friend Dan, and a few others in Adelaide. Like, I was gonna like, hey, is there anybody who has time and is in the area or something that could pick this up for me? And I was about to send like a group message just to inquire whether anyone's able to do that. But then they suggested like, oh, I could ship it. I'm like, oh, okay, easy. I'll do that.
Easy.
I'll pay $20 and be easy peasy. But yeah, I was like, oh, I really want this one because it's not a stupid price. Some of them are really quite silly as far as the prices go.
Yeah, out of whack. Yeah.
I've been selling a bunch of stuff on Facebook Marketplace too. The sort of, stuff I don't want out, and bring in some money to spend on some of this stuff.
To sort of help.
Sold a
help
DSI.
Yeah.
Sold a DSI XL that I didn't use. Had a bit of a crack in the top screen. I bought it off Marketplace probably a while ago. It would have been before COVID. So yeah, a long time ago. I bought it for $90. I sold it for $120. So what an investment,
Hey, that's
made $30 on it.
Pretty good. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so not too bad.
They knew about the crack then, and they were fine with it, obviously.
Yeah, it was actually somebody that I knew. They reached out to me and asked, and I went to the pub where I met them, and they said they're actually into like redoing like handhelds. So they had a bottom screen already to go to replace and all of that. So yeah, they'll all over it. I sold it because I actually when I use a DS, I actually really appreciate just how small it is because I've got Steam Deck, got Switch, and they're so big. But when you go, I think the DS is just perfect. It's so small, fits in your pocket. And when I'm home, I don't really need the big screens necessarily. I'll play something else on the TV or whatever. So just how portable it is. I didn't need the XL, even though I think it's awesome. Feels amazing to hold and has a great D-pad, all of that great stuff you love. But yeah,
didn't need
so
it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Build your next console.
Yeah, I'm not gaming.
Nice.
I'm just spending money and selling random junk to make it a little bit back.
Gaming in a different way. Yeah, you're playing a different game, collecting.
Kind of, yeah. I don't know. I don't like it. I do like it, but I was happy where I was, Josh. I was like, yeah, I just on the eShop, a game comes out, I'd spend the money.
Yeah,
download.
That's right.
You're so cool, and I play it.
You're so digital orientated, weren't you? Now you're like physical media is the only way forward.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
They can't take it from me if I buy it physically.
Yeah, well, my house
online
down,
store's
my insurance won't cover it. That's what happened.
Well, that's all right. That's right.
So you'll never replace my copy of Kingdom Hearts 2 on PS2. I'll never get that back.
No, that's it.
Oh. Yeah. But I guess just just go through these. I got a stack of PlayStation 5 games from EB Games. I went there. This over the course of like a month or 3 weeks or so. When Final Fantasy Rebirth came out, I picked up a copy of Rebirth and Remake. So I didn't have Remake on PS5, so I got those two.
Cool.
Got a Forspoken for $9. I was actually keen for this game until the reviews came out. Then it was they had like a half off sort of sale.
Because that came out, it was early last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's been
a year.
Pretty much a year. Yeah. So yeah, I was keen to play it, but I didn't want to spend 100.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah. I was really excited for it too, but the character was just annoying apparently. Yeah, I was talking to the guy at EB Games.
Yeah.
Who said that he's played it. He's like, yeah, it's not too bad, but yeah, the character's just so annoying. She's just she hates everyone. She's so negative. She's just like a teenager, but it is what it is. She'll grow up one day. She'll be a nice woman.
Okay. I mean, for $9, you can't complain.
No, can't complain. I've got some new games. So I got Persona 3 Reload. Keen to play that.
Cool.
So I've got a copy of that. These two were extremely just impulse buys. I was in EB Games, and I got to be honest, I was feeling a little bit like, ooh, just whatever. I needed a little bit of cheering up. So I got Unicorn Overlord, PS5.
Yep.
And also, this was a really random one, but why not? Hey, was it Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl 2? Felt like just like a bit of a fun game to jump into.
Yeah.
Nothing serious. I played the first game. It's enjoyable. It's so hard when you're such a Smash Brothers fan. Like there's no way a series that can sell 30 million copies. And then like Nickelodeon comes out, we'll do the same thing, and they have nowhere near the budget because how could they? And you have
cast of characters that would make it feel special.
Yeah, it's just like it's impossible. So it's hard to compare, but it's still the first one was still fun for what it was, and the reviews were actually surprisingly like glowing for this game, just in terms of like the content and everything. Like it's got like a story mode where it's like I forgot the genre. Of course, I forget while I'm podcasting. What's the one? A roguelike. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Roguelike. Yeah, they got like a mode like that where you play certain characters and you build up as you go. So that sounds like fun. It's got like Aang from Avatar, Garfield. A bunch of characters I love. I was a massive Garfield fan when I was a kid. So yeah, speaking of Garfield, got a copy of Stray, one of my favorite games from 2022. I never actually bought it.
Such a good game.
I had it on, was it PS? No. Yeah, PS
PSN?
Plus. Yeah, it came out on PS Plus. Yep, so that.
How much is that?
Because I've been in my retro, was it $47?
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Then I actually did pick up the Metal Gear Solid collection. with
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Yeah, just been in that retro sort of mood. So I'm like, I actually want to play these games.
Mm.
So get it on PS5 where it will run and look the best, potentially,
You ever
hopefully.
played
Heard
them?
bad things about it, but no, I haven't. No.
Mm. It's
So yeah,
fun.
I'm
I
keen to
played the Switch
jump into
one.
it.
It's like like pretty cool what Kojima does back in the day with that game and the
Yeah.
different things gameplay mechanic wise. That like I think every gamer who wants to look back at those days and play some of the classics, that's definitely one to check out.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Mm.
No, it's like a lot of these games that are, the franchises are so big and so in the
Yeah.
zeitgeist, and games that you missed because you were too young or whatever. It like you don't think to go
Yeah.
back to them because you know a lot about them. Like you know a lot about like how shocking it was for one of like the bosses, and you got to like change the controller ports and like all of the weird stuff he did with the PS2. But
Yeah.
you don't really think about like, oh, I'm actually going to pick it up and play it. I don't know.
Yep.
It's just
Yeah.
one of those things. And I've even done that with like some Zelda games, you know what I mean? Like in some Nintendo games where it's like, I should actually play it. Like came out long before I was
experience
even
it for
born,
myself.
but
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
keen to play that. And got was a Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. I had a copy on Steam, but I saw this
Yep.
like physically. I'm like, oh, once
Okay.
this is gone, I don't know if I'll be able to find it very easily.
Mm.
And yeah, just cool to have. And I might play
Yep.
it on Steam Deck. I might play it on PS5. I
Mm.
guess I've got the option.
Yeah.
Buy
Well.
multiple games. And last but not least, got Cheer on PlayStation 5. That was a PlayStation Plus
Yeah.
game as well, but they must have been clearing out the copies, so I picked up. So yeah, got 10 PS5
Good on them.
games. Just
Yep.
Jesus
They're all
Christ.
on sale. Is it a big sale? It's because that's what EB's doing at the moment, I think.
Yeah, they had yeah, they were on sale. Like
Yeah.
yeah, Metal Gear Solid was like $30 off. Cheer was
Yeah.
half price. Stray was half price. Persona 3 was $77, so that wasn't
Yep.
too bad. And yeah, the week before, well, a few weeks before, I picked up Final Fantasy Rebirth. I got that from Big W. I've actually anybody in Australia who wants maybe like to think about their finances when it comes to gaming and even their groceries. I've signed up to like the Woolworths membership. I forgot what it's called, reward system. So you get 10% off
Pass
Woolworths,
thing.
and it might be that. Can't
Oh
remember.
no.
Chantel actually set it
Okay.
up. It's just like Woolworths rewards. You get it's like $70 a year. You get 10% off Woolworths a month, and you get 10% off Big W a month as well. So everyday
Okay.
rewards. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
something
you,
else then.
Fuji. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can actually like use them both in each shop. So you do a big shop every month, and you get your 10% off. But you can also use it for games. So you can use it for anything in Big W. So you can go in there, and if you save like maybe your month's gaming purchases to one purchase, and you can use it like 10%. And don't know.
Okay,
It
cool.
seemed to work out all right for me this month. I went in there and got some Final Fantasy games and some storage, Tupperware and laundry stuff, and just other stuff that I needed as well, and it worked out quite well. So yeah, don't know.
Cool.
That's what I got to
Yeah,
talk about.
well.
Not much Princess Peach, but I've been buying stuff. So
Yeah,
hopefully
been
next
buying
month
stuff.
I haven't been buying nothing.
Yep.
Actually, I will because it's
Tell me
Toy
which-
Fair. I'll probably will.
Yeah, well, you will. It's this month. Tell me which game you want me to bully you out of those, and I will.
Out of these, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bullied.
I'm being nice to you in my bullying way.
Nothing straight off the bat for these. I'm pretty happy with these just sitting on the shelf for a bit. Like I'm you're gonna have to be more aggressive, I think, with that attitude.
I think I might
But
have to. Yep.
I'm keen to play Unicorn Overlord. Persona 3 can sit on the shelf.
Yes,
I
I'm not
was
gonna.
keen
I'm
to
not
play
gonna
Persona
bully you to
3.
an RPG.
Yeah. Persona 3, the reason I bought it was because it's on Game Pass, but it's such a big game that it'll leave Game Pass by the time I'm finished with it. That's what happened with Persona 5. So I'm like, I might as well just pick it up for $77.
Preempting.
'cause-
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, because the lowest, it won't go below $50 Persona Like Persona 5 hasn't. Persona 5 is basically sitting at 50 on all platforms. A little bit more on Switch, just naturally. But I'm like, yeah, I might as well just buy it, and then I can play it at my own pace and I don't have to worry about the subscription.
Yeah.
And I get my money's worth at a Game Pass just with smaller games anyway. That's typically what I like to play on that type of platform. So, so I decided to buy it, and it's nice to have it on the shelf, I guess.
Yeah, that's
take up room, even though I'm losing a bunch of room.
It ain't going anywhere.
But I think I want you to bully me to. The main thing I need to play is Princess Peach, and there's another game on Switch. I know what it's. RZ. I want you to bully me to play RZ as well. I've been meaning to play that. Just for context, they're the games I wanted to play on my cruise. I haven't played much,
which is weeks ago now. Yeah,
months ago. Yeah. So yeah, I need to finish those two games this week. That'll be good, especially
consider
Peach,
it done.
Consider it done.
Yeah.
I hope anyone out there who's
play some Princess Peach Showtime, okay?
Play some Princess Peach Showtime. You failure.
Correct.
Degenerate.
You call yourself a man. Come on. Pick up that controller. Play some Princess Peach Showtime. Get it done, mate.
I'm no man. Princess Peach. She just wants to go on an adventure, and I'm like, I can't move my thumbs. I'm sorry, Peach. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All right.
Done.
Well,
I'll do it.
Josh, I'm keen to move on to the Guru Geek Out. We haven't done Guru Geek Out since you've been on the show. And for anyone that doesn't know, this is a tribute to my good friend Bobby Pauls, the Nintendo Guru. And every week on his old shows, he used to talk about what he was excited about. He used to geek out about or give shout outs to people that he saw doing great stuff. And I thought it was just a great sort of way to spread positivity and talk about stuff that really excites you, that might be even out of the realm of Nintendo or the topics that you should typically touch when it comes to talking about video games. But without further ado, Josh, since this is your first time, what is your geek out or shout out?
Yeah, I just wanted to start. I had Eric from Olen on my show the other week. He hasn't been doing too well lately with sickness, so I think he's doing a little bit better now. But just wanted to give a little shout out to him. Hope he's doing all okay now. Getting over what he needs to get over. Because it sucks sometimes getting sick and things not going your way. So first one's to Eric. I had a great recording with Locklith today on my show, so shout out to her. That was a really good episode. I really enjoyed getting to know her and then talking all things Peach Showtime today. But Drew, I played some board games today with some friends, and I don't know if you play a lot of board games, but I have been getting into it a little bit more because I just used to play with just Monopoly and Pictionary and just the standard boring ones, but there's a whole world of different ones out there. I don't know if you've heard of this one. It's called Wingspan, and we played it twice today. I came last both times, but I still had a really good time playing this game. It's just a game about birds, and you're just collecting them and playing them down on the board. You can feed them to get new
Pokemon.
birds, and a little bit like that. And there's different types of birds. There's water ones. There's ones that live in the forest, and then other ones more so. I think it looked like just a normal terrain. But then you can make them lay eggs, and that impacts other things. And you got to get different. There's 4 rounds, and there's different points you get per round, and so you got to think strategically about how you allocate your resources and move them around. And it was really fun actually. So like I said, I came last both times, but I really enjoyed it. So that means it's a good game, and even though I didn't win, so it was super fun. So just it's not just the video games that took my fancy sometimes. The Wingspan was really good. So you probably never heard of it, Drew, because I'd never heard of it beforehand. But apparently there's one with dragons as well. You get to collect dragons and play them down. They've got different abilities and things as well. But this bird one was good too, because it was real birds. It showed you on the card where they're native to, and then it would give a little fun fact at the bottom. So we were learning about all the different birds around the world, like the American coot to the common raven to barn owls. It was a bunch of things. It was really cool.
That does sound cool, and
Yeah.
I think for me it would be cool because like whenever I go to like there's a bird watching lake just basically right next to our town, and sometimes I go there and just sit there and take in the peace and quiet and all the bird sounds. And when I'm doing that, I'm like, it'd be cool to like be able to identify all the birds just out of interest. And like my dad, he knows a lot about birds because he loves that stuff. He loves like whether it's hunting or it is just like nature watching and all of that type of stuff. So I would like to have some of his knowledge, and maybe that game would be helpful. Just like
just saying, like, oh,
look, it's a magpie, or it's an owl, or it's a coral. Oh, look at that. A little pheasant. Oh, I wonder what the pheasant does. What's your special ability? What's your magical ability to help me win this game?
Learn all of that. Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but I'm typically not fun. I'm typically not a board game guy, and that just comes down to the fact I was the only child, so I didn't have a bunch of board games growing up.
Makes it hard.
I've never played a full game of Monopoly in my life.
Yeah.
So, just all that stuff.
I will change that with you, man. I love that game. Love that game.
Come over, play some Monopoly. You'll kick my ass. You're like, here comes the bank man coming to play Monopoly with Drew, who's never played it before.
Yeah. You know I like it, don't you? Yeah. So, yep.
Yeah.
I'll go easy on you.
Siblings as well. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we know how to wheel and deal and try and screw each other over. So, yeah, it always felt bad for the fourth person who came over because it was us three, then them, and then we're all like better than them. And, they had no chance to begin with.
Just make them feel the pain.
Yeah. But that was me. How about you? What's your geek out?
My geek out this week is The Simpsons. So I've been watching The Simpsons on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
And The Simpsons, like most people my age, is like one of my favorite cartoons, and for me, it is my favorite cartoon, probably by a fair mile. Like I love The Simpsons. Growing up, Channel 10, 6 o'clock, you'll be watching The Simpsons, and then if you stick around, you'll be watching Neighbours and a bunch of other stuff. But 6 o'clock, it was like religious. Everybody was watching it, just reruns.
Win 10
it doesn't matter if you've seen it.
Drew, back in the day.
Yeah, that's right. Win 10. Yeah, I remember it being Channel 10, but yeah, you're right. It was Win 10. Yeah, and it was just like a religious experience. I don't know what it was like for people who had Ozstar and cable, all of that type of stuff, where you could just watch it like a marathon. that would have been amazing. But yeah, I absolutely loved The Simpsons, and it's just such a staple of the 90s. But as years have gone on, it's still going, and people are like, oh, why is The Simpsons still going? It should end. It sucks. All of that. And, The Simpsons will never be what it was in the 90s. Like, how could it be? It was such like, it came through at a time where it was paying out society just through its characters and events that happen. And eventually The Simpsons became pop culture, so it became what it was making fun of. And there's lots of like amazing analysis of what happened to The Simpsons and where the downfall started to happen. But I watched was it season 32? So not the latest season, but the season before. And man, it's fantastic. It is awesome.
Really? You enjoyed it, did you?
I will stand up and defend modern Simpsons. Like I said, is it what it was in the 90s? How could it be? It's like the biggest thing of that decade. Like it was just everywhere, and it's it's nowhere now. Like you've actually got to go look for it on the corner of Disney Plus because it's just been swallowed by the conglomerate that is Disney, along with Marvel, Star Wars, all of that stuff. It's just like a little pimple under all of that stuff. But what's great about the season I'm watching at the moment is it knows where the Simpsons stand. I feel like the writers are doing like a fantastic job. There's lots of like little bits to like. There was like a joke being like, I'm going to completely butcher it, but it was saying like, there's Marge or Homer saying like, oh look, some cartoons just go on way too long and they don't know where to stop. It's like, yeah, that's a bit of a cheeky like nod to the Simpsons. And there was even like an episode that was like a sequel to an episode in season 1. This was the last one I watched, maybe last night.
Mm.
There's an episode in season 1 where Marge has an affair with this bowling instructor, and
Yes. Yes.
she goes bowling, and season 23 there's like a sequel to that where the bowling alley is going to be shut down, and Homer like discovers that Marge is a really good bowler. She's like, "Oh, you've never bowled in your life. How you bowl so well?" And she like thinks back to like her memories of like, going to the bowling alley with this French man, and like all of the things that happened, and eventually
Yes.
she needs to like do a bowl off with this guy, and like she has to overcome her anxiety, and Homer finds out. It's like it was a sequel to that. It was like an end to that arc that happened all the way back like 30 so years ago. I was like, that
Okay.
is it was really
I'll have to watch
impressive,
that
man.
one.
Like I was
Yeah.
and look, I love like South Park, Family Guy, all of that stuff from, our generation of cartoons when it came to, just across all of those networks. But it is still The Simpsons that makes me laugh the most. Whether it's like a little laugh or like a massive, just like, got to pause the episode to make sure I don't miss anything laugh. And it happens every episode. I love The Simpsons, man. It's so good. I want to get back into it. I want to like start from season 1, try and watch as much as I can. And I was actually contemplating like whether I find like a watch along podcast, because there's so many Simpsons podcasts where they like talk about each episode as they go along. So I might actually like
Yep.
ask people on Twitter or anybody that listens
Yeah.
to this
Okay.
show, like
Yep.
if you know a good Simpsons watch along podcast, yeah, it'd be great to
Yeah.
get into it again. But
Why'd
yeah,
you
no,
why'd you watch season 32? Was it just a random season, or have you been watching them in order, or just?
No, I wanted to watch the most recent stuff, but season
Yep.
33, it's got 10 episodes on Disney Plus, so it's not complete. So I thought I'd just watch the latest
Okay.
complete season.
The 1 to 4.
So
All right.
yeah,
Cool.
so and that also continues off from where I was watching before. I think I was watching, what have even been during COVID, where I went back and watched The Simpsons. I watched like the most recent season, and then like I remembered The Simpsons again, and I went back and continued on from the where I left off basically, which was like season and a half ago. So yeah, just I really love it, and I'm keen to play like the Simpsons game. I got that on Wii, so I'm keen to play that. Got the Simpsons Hit and Run on PS2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Played
So
that,
good.
when it came out. I played that on PC of all places. But yeah, I love that game. That is didn't have GTA or anything else. That was my hit and run experience. So yeah, just so much nostalgia and love for The Simpsons, and like I've been talking about, in a very nostalgic spot at the moment, just with collecting and all of that, and
Yeah.
it's where I am with
I'd
The
say.
Simpsons as well.
Mm.
Got a lot of love for
I
that
love that
show,
show
and
too. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and
Like it
like
was like
it's had its
said,
down
Karen.
points. I remember some episodes on TV when I was watching it, like the new stuff. I remember thinking like, this sucks. I think there was a low point, but I got to say, like I don't know whether it's got like I've got some rose tinted glasses on for the newest stuff, or whether it did get better. I think it did get better, but it's hard to know without actually watching maybe season 20 or wherever that low point I think was. But
Yeah. We're Mickey and I, because Michaela never saw it growing up, so we're watching it through from the start, and so we're up to season 12 right now, and so like we're past what I call the golden age of the early to late 90s, like season 2 to 9
mhm.
is what a lot of people call it, and I would agree with that, because like it's just golden episodes, so hilariously funny, well written, like the B and then sometimes the C stories just are really fun
Oh
and
yeah.
amazing. But like getting to like 10, 11, and season 12 now, you're like, yeah, there's a bit of like, okay, it's not as good as what it used to be for sure. There's a lot of some silly things going on. A lot of people call the episode where Seymour Skinner, you find out
Yes.
he's not really who he is. He's the imposter, and that's the start of these silly storylines. And yeah, well, I believe there's a lot of good episodes after that. It's like this, that's like the start of this silly stuff that does come through. But like, there's some good stuff. Like there was an episode in series 12 we just watched. It's called Trilogy of Error. I'm just checking it now, and it's just like Homer's like cut off his thumb, and it's the different Simpsons family members their own story that day, so it just focuses on the one character to get to the end point. It's so stupid, but it's really well put together and very funny, and it's like one of the highest rated episodes that season, and I think it like sort of like stacks up against some of the older stuff. So yeah, some of the later stuff does pretty well. I want to keep going because I think this is like one of the last seasons I remember watching, and then I want to keep going until like there's like a whole bunch of episodes I haven't seen in a row. I'm like, okay, this is like completely new to me. How does this like? I don't have any memory of it. Is it still funny to me? Am I like, because I'm watching some of this stuff with like nostalgia goggles still, I feel, because I still remember
Mm.
this episode, and you sort of watch it from that angle. But I want to get to like the first proper season where I have barely seen any of it, and like, okay, do I find this funny and good still, or good at all, and sort of like go from there.
Yeah, it will
Mm,
be interesting. Because like, yeah, obviously the new stuff for me, like no nostalgia, but there's nostalgia
yeah.
for the characters and all of that stuff too. So if they continue on, if the writing tickles you enough, I guess nostalgia goggles still will help in that respect. But
Mm,
you mentioned like the golden era being between like season 2 and 11. Season 1 does not get its flowers. I love season 1. That is like
really?
the first season. I
Okay.
had the box set on VHS for season
Yeah.
1, and I love season 1, and I think it's awesome.
Really? Okay.
The
Okay.
very first episode, the Christmas episode, and the one where like
Yep.
Bart's got to basically front up and fight Nelson, and the one where he gets like Bart gets taken to France, kidnapped and taken to France, and there's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I got massive nostalgia for season 1, and I watched the crap out of it. Same with season 5 as well. Season 5 was one I had on DVD. I think that was pretty much it as far as the box sets I had. So I was watching it on TV, and I had series 1 and season 5, and I was so sick of season 5 by the end of don't know, my childhood or whatever. There was even to the point where it comes on TV. My art season 5. I'll know by the couch gag. I'm like, all right, don't worry about it. I've seen this one too
Yeah,
many
I've seen this
times.
one. Yeah, yeah, correct.
I don't need to watch it with ads. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Shout out to the
Yeah,
Simpsons, man.
yeah.
It's still fantastic. It really is. And I
My
think
third
the
parent.
writers sort of know where it is, like where it's at. It's just like, it's on Disney Plus, and that's where people are watching it, and it's not getting that many ratings, but it kind of lets them be
Yeah,
what
well,
they were for the early seasons. Like they're not the pop culture icon they were, so they can sort of go back to being like, the, I guess, like the punk rock alternative, not in the mainstream. But
mm, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's still relevant, but not as much, eh? And yeah, it's amazing. It's still on. What, 36 seasons? It's unreal. And I wonder if we'll ever end at this stage. Like, like, what is it going to take for it to really stop? Because um, people must still watch it. There must be other reasons commercially to keep it going, to keep it relevant, maybe. But yeah, like pretty crazy. Like, there's 700 episodes or something.
yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like in
Unreal.
the just with Disney buying Fox, and it's like it's being on a subscription service. Like it makes sense. It's like, well, it's a big name. May as well keep it going. It's content for the service. You know, a lot of stuff Disney's, it's the massive movies, it's the Marvel stuff, it's the Star Wars series. That's what keeps people coming in. But the Simpsons, people watching the backlog and keeping new stuff coming. That's probably hooking some people in, I would imagine, for the subscription. So it's probably worth it in some ways. But yeah, don't really know.
Yeah, yeah, probably for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess moving on from that, we got the bully who isn't Josh. We got Wacko Jacko in the chat here. Says, Did you play Side Order yet?"
there it
And
is. Very
mate,
good.
I've barely
Keep it
played
up,
anything, let alone
Wacko
Side Order.
Jacko.
But
Keep up
keep
the
up the
good fight.
bullying, mate. I need to be bullied to play it. And you come to my house, you throw an egg at my window. All right, I'll play it this week. But
Yeah.
what are your bets? I play Side Order in the upcoming week between now and the next episode. What's your bet?
Pretty low. Pretty low, if I'm honest.
Pretty low. Yeah, no. I'm the horse that's in the race, and I'll bet pretty low too. But I played eventually, Wacko Jacko. She's loaded up. I barely touched my Switch though, so it's just been how it is. But one day I feel like just shooting some ink at some pop-eyed fish, and it'll be right there for me.
Ready to go. Done.
Ready to go.
You'll get there.
All right. let's move into the topic of the show. And this is just something that caught my eye. There hasn't been much news or anything like that in the Nintendo zeitgeist the last week or so. But this is something that when I saw it, I'm like, oh. So Nintendo, they're not my family, they're not my team, but I love the Switch and I want to see a bit of a shake up in the games industry. PS2 so dominant just in its life cycle. 155 million copies. Nintendo needs 15 million more to be able to overtake it as the best-selling console of all time, gaming hardware ever sold as far as anything in the games industry. But Jim Ryan, I guess ex-president of PlayStation, says that it's actually sold 160 million PlayStation 2s. Oh, Jesus Christ. The line has gone up another 5 million. So we're now looking at 20 million more Switches. And this is just like a casual conversation, Josh, just a bit of back and forth. Like, first of all, can Switch sell another 20 million? That's massive. That's, pretty much almost kind of 2 times what the Wii U ever sold in its lifetime. Didn't sell that much, but just in comparison, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So will it sell? And if so, or if not, how can it get to that point? Because Nintendo can still put out awesome games and we'll buy the games, but at this point, who doesn't own a Switch that would want, say, the next Zelda, the next Mario, another Pokemon game? Like, they've done that. They've done that fantastically. Some of the best Nintendo software of all time is on Switch. A lot of it is actually, like for a lot of franchises, Animal Crossing,
correct.
and just some of the best in the franchise is on Switch. So what more can they do? So, Josh, will the PlayStation 2 ever be beaten?
It can and it will. The Switch is going to
love the optimism.
Get there. Firstly, Jim Ryan's. I'm reading an article. Time Extension's got the article with Jim Ryan reporting on it, because apparently it had 155 million as at the end of March 2012, and apparently the PS2 is not discontinued until the end of 2013. So there's like a year and 9 months of data that wasn't updated, and for some reason, funnily enough, before the Switch is going to overtake them, they're going to raise the hurdle to 5 million from 155 to 160. So go figure. PlayStation continuing to be a little bit competitive with it, but Drew, you told me you were going to talk about this, and so I've got to present my screen because I'm going to show you why it's going to be destroyed. Why the Nintendo Switch is going to destroy the PlayStation 2. Can you see my screen?
I can. I have to bring it up, I reckon. At the stage. Beautiful.
That's the one.
This is for the video listeners, watchers.
Yes. I will try to keep it as generic as possible for the podcast listeners. But I've charted the actual sales of the Switch here. And as at the end of... this is... Drew told me 10 minutes before we were recording what was happening. So I made this chart. But
that's why I'm so impressed.
Yeah, thank you. As at the end of December last year, the Switch has sold 139.36 million copies. So that's where it is right now, Drew. End of the blue line. This yellow line's the PS2 at 160 million. So they're about 20 million off.
Yeah, okay.
And so, how many Switches do you reckon will sell this year, Drew? In a bit of a weaker year. Noting that last year 2023 sold just under 17 million.
Well, last year was Tears of the Kingdom and like a bunch of software. Mario Wonder. So they're not going to do that this year. You wouldn't think so without some drastic price cuts. Well, not drastic price cuts, but a price cut would definitely
they won't
help.
do that again this year.
No.
I've done 15.
So what are you looking at?
You reckon lower?
Would it go down to 50? I don't know, man. Like, just the fact that it's only 2 million less than a banger year that we had last year. I'm not sure. We had special editions for Zelda as well. That would have bumped it up.
All right.
There's a Pokemon
let's make it even lower
special
then.
edition.
13 million, eh? And then for 2025, what? Well, let's assume the Switch 2 comes out earlier in the year. Switch is going to really peel off, isn't it? So you reckon Probably get a price cut. Probably try. Nintendo will want to go for the record, won't they?
Oh,
I've
look,
got
if
10.
how could they not? Like, if I
Yeah,
worked there,
at this
I'd be
point,
like doing overtime. I'm like, I just want to be at a company that gets a record. You
correct.
think if there's, I don't know,
I need
or maybe
plenty
you're
of
overworked
records,
as
but
it
they can
is, and you
have the
don't give a
best
shit.
selling console as well back onto their list. So I've got 10 million here, but even if you do like 8 or something, it will get to 160 doing that by the end of 2025. So if they're just going to sell 21 million units in the next 2 years, I think they can do that. And even 2026, end of 2026, they'll still sell a couple of million or something. There'll be laggards somewhere.
I really
So
appreciate
they'll
this.
agree.
Yeah, yeah.
My chart
Sorry,
will show us.
I really appreciate the visual chart. It's fantastic. Like, I'm much more of a visual just observer, just from being a look at them. But yeah, it actually, at the trajectory they're on and what they need to sell, it doesn't look as daunting as just thinking about 20 million, like another 20 million, like, and like obviously they're looking at it and they're looking at how to be able to target that and hit those numbers, and what they need to do, whether it is price cuts or a new model or the software to drive it. And I think they're doing a good job at software. It's just there's nothing major hitting, but there is something to at least think about every month, apart from April. There's nothing in April as far as first party Nintendo content goes. But there's always something like, unless like you're a die-hard Nintendo fan who's been there since N64 or GameCube, you are thinking like, oh, there's a Paper Mario game. Oh, like, there is stuff coming. Oh, there's Luigi's Mansion 2. That'll be cool. I enjoyed the third game. There's a bunch of people who never played anything but Luigi's Mansion 3. So there's always something to play. There's always something in the zeitgeist, and that will turn over consoles for like kids who are just coming of age now. They might be 10 years old and they're, oh, look, I want a gaming platform. Right. There's always people coming in. It's not all just adults they're selling to. In fact, it is like Switch is the device that gets people into traditional gaming. That probably is the device that moves kids away from playing on their parents' iPad, and they want like something
get them
a bit bigger, bit better. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Which is weird to think about. It was like going from the Game Boy to like a Nintendo 64 or something back when we were kids. But yeah, today it is like get off the iPad onto a Switch where there isn't like internet or anything that, well, there's internet, but you can't get up to too much mischief on a Switch compared to an iPad. You can't like, do all the microtransactions and
correct.
Bring out the credit card quite as easy.
A few more safeguards.
Devious things on the web browser. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just
it will happen. It will happen. Nintendo's got some levers to pull. Firstly, extending the life of it before the Switch 2 helps. We might get some special editions later this year for whatever games come out in the second half to tie in with that, and then
we will.
There'll be some price cuts because why not? And Nintendo will want the record. We want them to get the record as well because why not?
Yeah.
And PlayStation will be a little cheeky with that little move. I don't think it's going to do enough though.
Come on.
Jim Ryan wants to retain that record, but my forecasts are that it won't matter and that the Switch is going to do it probably by the end of next year, and we'll find out in March 2026. So from 2 years from now, we'll find out.
It's funny because I think a lot of this comes from like, I'm a massive PlayStation fan. I love PlayStation, and like even when it comes to like the PS2, I love the PS2. I've just started collecting for it. I really like it, but when I was a kid, I heard nothing but how good the PS2 was and how shit all my Nintendo games were that I loved. And like, I moved past that and I love PlayStation Vita. That was such an important console as far as like my high school experience went. Loved the PlayStation Vita, PS3, PS4, PS5. I love the PlayStation consoles, but there's a part of me that just wants to go back to when I was 12 or whatever and go, no, fuck your PlayStation. fuck your PS2.
Bring back the console wars, eh?
Bring back the primary school console war. I want the Nintendo console to beat it. Just why not?
Yeah.
But a more real answer, a more honest answer is just that, it is kind of boring, just like the PS2 has just been dominant forever. It has been the milestone. It would just be cool to see
Mm.
something else shake it up, and something that wasn't bought primarily just for a DVD player, to get the record. Something
Yeah,
that can't do
correct.
anything else apart from play games. That's what's actually really exciting about the Switch getting it, is that people aren't buying it for Netflix. They're not buying it for Hulu. They're not buying it for doing other stuff, not for playing DVDs, Blu-rays. It is purely to play games. And while the Switch has the advantage of multiple people per household, like, all of your friends' places and your place, it would have had a PS2 and that's it. All your brothers played the PS2. You might have had a memory card each if you're lucky, potentially. But you only had one per
Yeah.
household. But now, um, you know, if you still lived with your brothers and that, you'll all have your own Switch. You like eventually, whether your parents could afford it or not, or you'd eventually save up through pocket money and jobs and all of that. You would probably end up with 3 Switches between the three of you eventually. Um, but
Oh, correct.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
It is sort of
yep,
interesting.
it is. And then that's end of 2013. It stopped selling the PS2 eventually. So like how long is the Switch going to really go for? Will they be a lot shorter than that? Because when did the PS2 come out? 11 years before 2013, 2002, 2000, no 2000, wasn't it? So it's
Yeah,
that's
2000.
like
Yeah.
13 years. So like I don't think the Switch they'll discontinue it before that, but
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
like a long time,
PS2 had
long
the
time for it to get to
PS2 had
160.
a massive just life after its death. So yeah, the PlayStation 3 came out 2006. Like, but
Yeah.
while the PS3 was out, God of War 2 came out, and a bunch of massive games were still coming to PS2. Like whether it's sports games or even like the MLB games from the San Diego
Mm,
studio, like a bunch of these games were still coming to PS2. And it was actually the Wii that kept it alive for the most part. A lot of ports were still viable because they were also coming to the Wii. Like, the Star Wars Force Unleashed games, they both had their own versions for Wii and PS2. And just a bunch of games were able to be made for both of them in their own SKU, and then their own SKU also for Xbox 360 and PS3. So if it wasn't for the Wii, I'm sure developers for
okay.
PlayStation 2 probably would have let it go a lot sooner, but because Wii was so successful and PS2 was so successful, it was kind of a no-brainer to make a version for
Yeah.
those two consoles.
Yep.
Because even though Wii was so popular, people still kept their PS2s, whether it was for God of War 2 or it was just because they had so many games for it and they just wanted to keep it hooked up, and they bought a game here and there, the odd sports game, and played it like that. So it just had a massive life afterwards, where Switch won't have that. But um,
Mm,
it just depends on what they do with the next system. Like if it's say Wii U to Switch, the Wii U gets just hamstrung, just cut off, bye bye.
yeah.
But if it is backwards compatible and still
Bit of
people are
backwards.
interacting with Switch software, and there's a new model that's a bit cheaper or maybe a bit smaller, and there's
Yeah.
a reason to get that, because if they make like a Switch Micro or something like size of like a DS, I'd buy that. Like if it's something different to what we have now, I'd buy that. But if it's just a cheaper version
Really?
that's
Yeah.
cheaper again,
Yeah.
yeah, I probably would. It's just like as like a really like a real pocketable like device that plays Switch
Like a
games. Yeah,
mobile size
absolutely.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the size of
Yep.
like your iPhone, like that you slide into your pocket. It has like a small screen, but it's not meant to be stared at
Mini
while you're on the
Joy-Cons.
couch. It is literally, just like a Switch Lite, but lighter, and way smaller.
Yep.
It's a bit different with the analog sticks, so it makes it a bit trickier. But
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. But
yeah,
yeah. Oh, it's it will get there. It will get there. Especially if the Switch 2 came out middle of this year, I'd be thinking about it differently. But I just think well, it's the
Hmm.
latest one. People are still playing their consoles. They break down. They need upgrades. Oh, an OLED's out now. It's a decent price. Just buy that. It will just it'll keep churning along.
yeah. What would you do as far as like your strategy if you're running Nintendo? Another shout out to Bobby Pauls if you run Nintendo. But yes, if you ran Nintendo, what would you do for the next 18 months? So I guess like as far as like software layout or new models, price cuts, all of that type of thing, all of those levers you can pull at certain times, how would you sort of run the operation to make sure you hit that 60 million?
Well, I'd only delay it if I knew that it's got obviously got to be a good reason. So I think and there's some stuff they can have later this year. So there must be something decentish this year to carry us through to the end. And so we'll find out what that is in the next couple of months. It's gonna be decent. I can understand if it's not like amazing, but some one or two original new games, and then like a port and a remaster will probably do us good to get through that second half of the year. But then you want to make sure that obviously we've talked about this before, but the Switch 2's got to have a great launch and lineup. That they know about that. Learning that with the Switch and how they had Breath of the Wild, then pretty well a month later, practically in the launch window, you got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and just what that meant for the console. So it'll be a similar thing with a Mario or a new Mario Kart around about launch. So he's got to have those two things. In terms of the OG Switch, you could just leave it at that same price initially, because the Switch 2 will be $50 to $100 more. And so that, if it's backwards compatible, and there's, there might be a transition period where there's some games that are working for both, could be some cross platform, launches, things like that.
Mhm.
It might be, a pretty well supported console still. So, yeah, I'd be looking for that. And then, if you really see the Switch sales die off, and you see, a price cut's not going to affect sales of the Switch 2, then hell yeah, start cutting, baby, and cut that price. And they must be making good margin on that by now, surely. I know costs have
Oh,
increased, but they've
wonderful margin.
retained the same price. The technology cost of those chips must have gone down substantially. Just all the technology is so old now. The cost must be pretty good. The margin must be amazing on it. So, yeah, like 6 months after the Switch 2 or something, just start cutting, and just enjoy, a decent old predecessor of a console selling all right against your new launch Switch 2 as well. I just think, yeah, like they're pretty well positioned really to sort of make some good sales and continue that momentum into the next decade. What do you think?
Um, yeah, I think it's just they're following that trajectory that you've shown on your graph that that I can see and a lot of the listeners can't. But it was just like
Glad you
a
said
graph
graph, not
that's
graph. Thank you.
graph. No, I don't think I say
Graph.
graph much. Graph. The
Near the
graph.
border.
Yeah,
So
really
yeah,
emphasize the R, bloody
yeah,
graph.
yeah.
You know,
That's right.
R of the part. Look at the graph and that treasure map. Yarr. Yeah, just looking at that graph. Just yeah, I think they're just gonna follow exactly what they're doing and pull the levers at certain points that they've got mapped out. Which obviously we've got no idea what they're doing, but they've got their
Yeah,
games laid out. The next sort of move will be drum up hype again around another set of games coming in the second half of the year, and that will come with a certain special edition, come with a certain drops on NSO, and all of that stuff would be laid out for them. And eventually they'll probably have a prediction where they will drop a new model or a price cut, however that works, what they've got planned, and eventually sort of line up with a bigger game. Don't know what that is. It won't be Tears of the Kingdom or Mario sized. I don't think they'll do cross platform with a Mario game like they've typically done with Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild the last couple of generations. I don't see them doing that with Mario. I feel like they should save it as the console exclusive. But don't know that if they want to make sure that if they are really actually gunning for like a world record when it comes to like most successful console of all time, maybe they'll all right, just put Mario on both and that'll at least help
Yep.
us a bit. People will look for the cheaper option and play it on their existing Switch, or the younger kids will want to pick it up here because that's what their parents will buy, and then we'll work on it with a bunch of other software that we've got lined out over the next 7 years. So we'll just sacrifice that one Mario title. I don't know. They could do that cross platform with Mario and save Mario Kart as like the true, like, all right, let's push this bad boy. We want $900 from you for this, please. God, I hope it's not that expensive.
I mean, they could, yeah. Yeah.
So don't know. I don't know what their plan is. Like that in between stage. That's where I'm most interested about. Like, will the Switch be dropped? And they,
yeah. I'm looking at the Famitsu sales charts for Japan, the weekly ones, and the Switch OLED by itself is still outselling the PS5. And then you add in the Lite and then the original Switch sales. So the sales are still great. Like, it's still beating the PS5. Just one of the 3 models of the Switch, the OLED. Unreal.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it's still going to have a decent year this year.
Yeah. I think, like, especially in Japan, people just prefer the handheld console so much more. And you can imagine like a tight space. Like you got like a little TV area, and maybe even some people like in an apartment in Tokyo. Like the final space for your PS5 would be, challenging.
It's a big boy, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know if they're switching out the also, including the it's not a Pro, but the whatever you call the new PlayStation,
the Slim,
now the 30%, the Slims. Yeah, I can't see these separately as a line, so I don't know if they're all together.
Yeah,
but even if it is, it's still not outselling the OLED Switch.
The marketing for the PlayStation, like the new PlayStation 5 Slim, like it's not marketed as Slim or Extra or Next or whatever it is. It is just a PS5.
And it's going to replace the current, isn't it? So it's just the new PS5. Yeah.
It is. It's the same thing, just they made it smaller. Like they're not putting that in any branding or anything. It's like, hey, guess what? It's 30% smaller, and I guess
for us,
this is the one you'll buy now.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So, no, I'm a little bit more confident when it comes to internal sales trajectory. Like, oh, look, this billion-dollar company will make more billions. Thank God for that.
Yep. I'm glad I could help you, Drew. I'm glad I could explain it to you. This is what I do for my job. So, all the graphs and numbers.
When will I be able to bring my expertise to a Nintendo podcast? So you bring like, your number crunching, your graphs, you got all that stuff. So like you bring your day job to the House of Mario. How am I going to bring my day job experience to the House of Mario?
You could shear a sheep live and
shear a sheep live.
Cult of the Lamb. Dress it up as I don't know. We'll think about that. That's a good question though.
Yeah. So like, born and raised on a farm, play a bit of Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley. You could do some like farming games there. Some people say, "Oh, why don't you play farming simulators?" Cross the money. Sounds like the worst.
Yeah, I've had enough of that. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. That's the worst thing you'd want to do.
Even, like those games, they're based in North America. It's a very different experience to being a farmer in South Australia, but still don't want to.
I appreciate. Think that everything you do does not remind me of my day job, and I think that's a good thing when you're listening to a gaming podcast. If I'm being honest, so keep doing what you're doing. If I'm being honest.
All right. At least you're being honest.
Yeah, I'm being honest. Yep.
You're not lying to me.
I am. I'm just gonna bully you to play Princess Peach again. You gotta play that.
Yeah. No, I need a bully in my life. I've got 2 bullies in my life. I've got Wacko Jacko. I've got Josh.
Yeah.
I got my son. He's the 3rd bully, actually. My son. Such a big bully.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What does he want you to do?
He grabs my finger and pulls me over to his little table with his cars. And he doesn't have to bully me to do that. I'm more than happy to go and play cars with him. He's got like a massive bag of cars he's got from one of Chantel's cousins' kid. He's like 9 or 10. So he just like offloaded like 3 Woolworths bags of cars, like Hot Wheel cars. Like we got cars, nice. We got Hot Wheels for the rest of his life. Like honestly, holy shit.
So good.
So more than happy to play little cars with him. He goes, milk? I'm like, I'll get you some milk, mate. He's just very demanding. No bullying, actually. Just very demanding. Like, yeah, I'll
No,
get
please
you
or
your milk,
thank you.
big fella. No, well, I say like Lucas. You say please. He goes, please. I'm like, good boy. Who's your milk, big boy?
Very good. All right.
You suck on this while you bloody watch Bananas in Pajamas, son. Oh, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, how could you say no to that?
How could you say no to that little smile? It breaks my heart. Oh, love that man. That little man.
Oh, yeah.
That
I mean, I've met him. How could you say no? How could you say no?
I say no. That's his favourite word is no. Because, Lucas, can you get in your pajamas? He goes, no. You bloody will get in your pajamas, son.
You'll do it, mate. You'll do it.
You'll get in it. Don't you worry. Otherwise, you'll go to bed
in
your shorts, in your T-shirt. When you wake up in the night, like, this isn't so comfy. I wish I was in my pajamas like Dad said. But yes, we got to the time of the show where we're rambling. So everybody, thank you so much for listening to the House of Mario episode 265. Josh, anything else you want to say before you head off?
Yeah, latest episode Into Mania's out on podcast services. Video out tomorrow. I had Lockleth from the Nintendo Drive. She's a really great, cozy gamer streamer on the YouTube as well. We talked all about Princess Peach Showtime, so I had a big deep dive into that, and then sort of about females in video games and what Nintendo's done in the past, why there aren't so many, but it's coming around the right way, and so talked a little bit about that. So give it a listen if you're somewhat interested. But as always, always enjoy my time with you, Drew, on the House of Mario. Thanks for keeping me in the place and not kicking me out yet.
No, you got a pillow, mate. You got a stain on the pillowcase.
Yeah, I think
you're here, mate.
Probation's ended.
You know, she's over, mate. Your phone's stuck here. You got no idea. You're fucked, mate.
Bullying I'm going to do to you, Drew. Just you wait. Just you wait, mate.
Just you, Josh. You tap your watch right now, mate. You wait. You sit there and wait, mate. But listeners, I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. The doors to the House of Mario, they're closed. Thank you, everybody, in the live chat here on youtube.com/iDruby, Foolish Fuji, Wacko Jacko. That was it in the chat. Thank you very much. And until next time, we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye, everyone.